Okay, so we were doing a scope in the PPT if you see. Okay, so we were here, and actually I was writing application of this statement. So we are trying to verify it. So to access an instance attribute, Python will first look for it in the instance namespace, then in the class namespace, and then in the superclass namespace, recursively going up in the hierarchy. So according to that, the output we were expecting here in this program. So this program there. So what we were expecting here 20, right? So that was the problem in last class. So the problem in understanding, and it is not clearly written in the PPT. That is the problem. So what happens here actually? You already know that we have defined a class A where Z is 30, and we have initiated that object with variables x, y, w with these values, and then this w is this. So we are returning that string output. Here B is the derived class, and A is the base class. X and Y. So see, there are two type of variables. One we can say instance variable, that is object variable, like here x, y, w. So x, y, w will be instance variable for the class A, and z is not instance variable. Z is a class variable. So class variable means it is defined the class. If you want to access it, you will write a dot z. Okay, you will not write self dot z. So z is equal to 30. This is the class variable. Okay, class variable of a class. And here x, y, w are instance variable in class A. Similarly here in the B is the derived class, and x and y are the class variable for the class B. And here x and v, what we have defined here, is the instance variable. So what happens, the hierarchy here is, so in the PPT it was written like Python will first look for it in the instance namespaces. So instance namespaces, so instance means object. So here when we were printing this, so same thing I was trying this. So what I did here, I just copy paste it here. Yeah, so we were finding w, x, y, z. So what is the hierarchy order? So first it will see in the instance variable or in the object. So like here see, the object here contains x6, v50, and here object of the class A, object of the class A that contains x2, y10, and w10. So it will first give preference to the instance variable, whether it is in the derived class or in the base class. So the order is like I'm telling the order. First it will access instance variable of the derived class, then instance variable of the base class, then class variable of the derived class, and after that it will access class variable of the base class or super class. Okay, this is the hierarchy. So in the last class we were facing problem because we were expecting this 20 to be printed, but in place of y we were getting 10 because it access first the instance variable. So order is like that: first instance variable, then class variable. So in instance variable the order is, first it will access the instance variable of derived class, then instance variable of the object class, matlab base class, okay, or parent class. Then will be class variable of the derived class, and then class variable of the object class. So this is the order. Okay, so that's why we were getting that. Okay, so here we were getting y10 because it considered this y. So this is hierarchy. So in the ppt it was not clear, that's why I got confused there. Okay, so it says instance namespaces or objects, so instance variable of the derived, then instance variable of the base class, then class variable of derived class, then class variable of the super class or base class. This is the order. That's why we were talking. Okay. So this is clear. So scope, after scope, so this, okay, so this problem is solved. I may run it once more if you want. So okay, so what we are expecting here, uh, so first OB1 is clear. Okay, in OB1 we have explained it. So in OB1, OB1 is A class, and class A will have this. So W is here 100, X is here 2, okay, Y is here 10, and Z is here, so here 30. This thing, and when you print OB2, so OB2 is class B. So class B we have taken. So here W it will access. So W is not here in the instance variable of that, so it will access there. Okay, order is this: first, second, like that. So 100. Then X, first it will look here, so it is 6. Then it will look here, so it is 2. Okay, so it will do 6. 6 is here. Y. So first we'll look here in the instance variable of the derived class, and after that it will look in the instance variable of the object class. So here is Y10, that's why it is taking that. And Z, Z is not here, not here, not here, so it will go into class variable of the base class. So that is 30. So that was output. Okay. There V also, the V is already present. So here is V also. So V here is, it is defined here 50. So it will print. So okay, let me run. This is okay. So you will look it. Fine. So now, so what is next in the PPT? So uh, double underscore basis double underscores used to find the base class of the class. So you may write it to find the base class of the class. Okay. So object class is the base class of all classes. So here string class, base classes of string class it is finding. And here name double underscore name double underscore used to retrieve the name of the class. For example, Python or as a string form dot double underscore class double underscore then double underscore name double underscore. So this will write the class of this name. Okay, so this Python, this written as a string form, so it is returning string. So you can also see it here, I think. Okay, it is not here. So like that you can do. Okay. So next is hierarchical inheritance. So derived class is like any other class and may serve as base class for another class derived from it, and so on. So like you have seen person employee example, so every employee is a person. So employee class was derived class and person class was base class. Okay, but you may use employee class as a base class now for the other class. Okay, so like here in the last example, this example you check, A is the base class, here B is the derived class, A is the base class. Now B is derived class on A is the base class. Again, B can be used as a base class for the other class C. You may define some class C where B will we have like base class, okay, or C will be derived class. So derived classes is like any other class and may serve as a base class for another class, okay, derived from it, and so on. So each derived class may define its new attributes. Thus, inheritance allows us to create a class hierarchy, also called the type hierarchy. So when inheritance involves more than one level of hierarchy, so when inheritance involves more than one level of hierarchy, such as like A implies B implies C, like that. Okay. So it is called multi-level inheritance. And inheritance involving multiple classes derived from the single base class is known as hierarchical inheritance, as shown in figure 2. So figure 2 is here, I think. Yeah. So you can check example of inheritance hierarchy. So vehicle is a base class for these two derived class. Okay. So passenger vehicle and commercial vehicle. Now passenger vehicle, this will be as a base class corresponding to these classes. So car, auto rickshaw, and bus. So you know car is a passenger vehicle, auto rickshaw is a passenger vehicle, and bus is a passenger vehicle. And now this passenger vehicle is a vehicle. So this is base class and these are derived. And here passenger vehicle is the base class corresponding to these derived classes. So this is the example of inheritance hierarchy. And hierarchical inheritance may be combined with multiple and multi-level inheritance to yield hybrid inheritance. Okay, so we may have more than two classes there. So if you want to see the program, okay, let's see the PPT first, then we'll come to that. So subclasses, so subclass derives its attributes from two or more classes. Then such inheritance is called multiple inheritance. Okay, so subclass means derived class. Okay, so derived class derives its attributes from two or more classes. Then such inheritance is called multiple inheritance, as shown in figure. Like we will define a class appointment. This appointment will use my date class and my time class both. Okay, so it will actually derive its attribute from my date and my time both. Like appointment you want to fix, so which date and which time. So my time is a one class will define, and my date is another class, and both appointment will use the attributes from both the classes. So that is example of multiple inheritance. So before that, we can see the example. Okay, this is also example of like here what we have done in this program. If you see, so we have defined the one class my int. This is a derived class, and base class we have used int. So int is a type of object, type is a class. So here base class we have considered built-in class, that is the int. Okay, now like here it was base class is a. So this is the user defined class. A was the user defined class, and here int is the built-in class. And then what we are doing, so you can understand this, then we'll back to that up this employee data. Okay, first understand this program. So what is saying, define length uh, of object. So num is equal to self. Then if number is less than 0, if number is negative, you multiply it by just multiply it by a negative number, so make it positive. And digits is 0, while number is positive. So digit we are actually we'll count the number of digits, I think. Yeah, yeah. So number of digit in a integer. So while number is more than 0, num is equal to num upon 10, integer division. So every time we are dividing by 10 and increasing the digit by 1. So return digits if digits is more than 0, else 1. So what we are doing here, just we are counting the number of digits in a integer, right? For example, if you take this, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. So initially num is this, right? And digits initially digits is 0. Digits has value 0. Now what will happen, number is more than 0, yes, so it is true. So num is num, so num will be updated, and it will be updated, it will divide by 10. So 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and digit will be increased by 1, so now digit is 1. Again num, so it will divide by 10. 2, 3, 4, digit will be 2. Again num is 2, 3, digit will be 3. Again num is 2, digit will be 4. Again num is 0, digit will be 5. And now the program after that it will stop, so 5 will be the output. Okay, so this is counting number of digits there. So this was also an example corresponding to that base class and derived class. Okay, so here base class is int and derived class is that mind. Okay, okay, fine. Okay, so now you see this example. So this you can understand later on. This is just to import the program. Here we are defining a class clerk, and employee is used as, so clerk is a class we are defining, an employee class that is used as base class. So in the previous you have seen already, employee class was derived class of the base class person. Now we are using that employee as a base class. Okay, and this clerk class we are defining as the derived class. So clerk count initially it is 0, defining INIT self. So object we are defining name, date of birth, address, basic salary, date of joining. So these were already in the employee class, if you remember. So we had employee class. If I show you, so here we have, like we have already seen person class, my date class. Okay, and currently I'm opening the employee class we have seen. Just I will open it for you. So this was the employee class, nah, that we have seen in last class. So here variables were name, date of birth, address, basic salary, date of joining. Okay, here it was defined as a derived class of base class person. And now this program you are seeing, this is the class clerk, and it is defined as the derived class of the base class employee. Okay, super dot init this. So this we are just importing from that class. This was the command to import from superclass. Superclass is employee here, and subclass is clerk. So these variables we are initiating or associating with the self of that clerk class. And clerk dot clerk count is 1. So whenever define, you will define new object of the clerk or new instance, it will count will get increased by 1. Then this is destructor. so you know already. So defining this, and if you delete any employee, okay, or any object of this class clerk, then it will decrease, count will decrease by 1. So clerk count will decrease by 1. So every clerk is an employee. Here where you are using every clerk is an employee. That's why clerk is a subclass and employee is the superclass. So clerk is a derived class and employee is a base class. Then class we are defining another class, we are defining manager. Okay, this is other class, and so manager also an employee. So employee is a base class. So manager count is 0. Then initiating that object with these variables. So one more variable we have here, managerial pay. So some extra amount may be paid for the managing thing. So that's why it is defined. And then we are that using variables of that superclass, and self dot managerial pay. So like one more variable we have, so we are associating with that object. And then manager dot manager count get increased by whatever, whenever you define one more object of the manager, then it will get count will increase by 1. Then defining update. So this is a function update managerial pay. So this is the modifier, so that will modify the managerial pay amount. And get salary, this is accessor, so you can access get salary. So employee dot get salary of self plus self dot managerial pay. So salary of the manager, so it will get some extra amount on for the than employee. Okay, that's why we're writing that in this way. And then we'll return employee dot this str self. So whatever were the output in the employee class, that will be printed, and that there we what we were printing there in employee class. So in employee class we were printing str, yes. Okay, so person is very important. So name, date of birth, address, and then get ID, then get salary, date of joining, that all. And here we'll print more managerial pay and then self managerial pay, defining this. Delete. So whenever you delete one employee or manager, it will count will decrease by 1. So clerk 1, we have taken the instance of the class this manager, in fact clerk here, sorry. So clerk, and what we are defining name, okay, name, date of birth, address, okay. And then in the actually what are the variable, name, date of birth, address, basic salary, and date of joining. So basic salary, date of joining. So we are just printing clerk 1, so it will print the name. So like here we define a string. So an employee, it was name, date of birth, address, ID, salary. So these two things we define here explicitly, and others were importing from the class employee. And employee, it was importing from the person. Okay, so this is the program. You may define one more object if you want to define. So if I define like manager, 1, okay. So manager is a one class, so we are defining instance of that class or object. So we may write manager, and what are the variable there? So name, date of birth, suppose I write this only. But you can see this manager class has one extra variable, managerial pay. Okay, so write that also here. Suppose it is getting 10,000. Okay, so that one more way we had. And now if I print it, So manager 1. Okay. So it should give output. No module named employee. Okay. So we have done some mistake maybe. Acha, 1 minute. This actually I have to change because so employee 1. So it is. Oh, now it is working. Yeah. So employee 1 actually I have. So I made it. Okay, this is other program. Same thing. You can check here. Yeah. So this, we just like we are using my date class and employee class here. So we have imported from that location. Okay, this location. So the next program actually. So like clerk one was this clerk, and this is manager. This was a variable name, date of birth, address, basic salary, date of joining, and then managerial pay here. This we are printing. So Arjun, this for this clerk one, and for manager one we are getting this. So I think you should write this. Okay. So you write this program. So this is which class? Clerk and manager. Okay. It will take a lot of time. It's a big program, but you have to run it so that you will understand. At least you will go through it. So if I run it, so it is clerk manager, right? Program is clerk manager. Okay. So no module name date. So you have to check that. So first of all, we have imported that employee. So address I changed. Yeah, actually I changed the name. So I have to update that. Actually, I changed the name here. Okay. So that's why it is. So employee we are importing. Na? So this name I changed. No module name date. So date I have to change. That's why just update our programs. So the program my date, right? Okay, so name is a my date. So I have to write my date, and there I have to write my date. So here in place of date I have to write my date because program name I saved with my date. This is the program name, and this is the class you are importing. So this way you can also do. So I would say at least you try. Now it's fine. Okay. And some of them may be the variable like PQR we have not defined here, but it is getting printed because that may be inside that class, employee class or my date class, that one. So you may remove that. Here we had only Arjun and Rahman, but what we are getting, This Rahman is fine, okay, and Arjun is fine. But you can see here like PQR and all these are coming because it is inside the program you are importing. So that object you can remove from there. Okay, so what I can do? Uh, so I hope you have already these two programs. Because to run this program, you need to have these two programs: my date class and person class. Okay. Oh, it's for the employee class actually. So for the employee class you need this, but for the this clerk, class clerk or class manager, you need to have employee, and for the employee class you need to have person and my date class, and this my date class. These two you need. So I would say you try. Until then, I will take in attendance. So I can give you the. So this you can write by your own, and you can edit it, the address and all. So just I'm giving you this. You run it, and please everyone try. Okay. Then so those who are updated will only be able to run it, right? Updated means you have the class person, you have the class my date, class employee, then you can run this program. But you try at least any one of you succeed, then it's fine. But you try whether it's working or not. So do you have this program and all? So it's already in chat. You just copy paste and make indentation correct if something goes wrong. Then you try whether it's working or not, and tell me if it is working. Till then, I will be taking attendance. And so Ravi Raj Yadav, Sejal Raj,
Present, sir.
Sabyasachi, Monica,
Present, sir.
Soumya, Abdullah Tavis, Abhilipsa, Aditya Narayan,
Present, sir.
Pratiksha,
Present, sir.
Sadan Hassan,
Present, sir.
Satya Subdarsi, Priyajit, Abhishek Panda,
Present, sir.
Prasenjit,
Present, sir.
Harshvardhan, Swastik,
Yes, sir.
Vivek,
Present, sir.
Sumit, Somendra, Ujjwal, Ayushman, Basant, Sasank,
Yes, sir.
Seasel,
Present, sir.
Swapnasri,
Present, sir.
Swayam Sarthak,
Present, sir.
कृति, अनिकेत, सौभाग्य शंकर, आकाश, ऋषि,
Present, sir.
स्निग्धा, अमिताभ, आदित्य,
Present, sir.
Amitabh Bachchan present.
अमिताभ आदित्य दोनों प्रेजेंट, ठीक है। अभिषेक मिश्रा,
Yes.
Present, sir.
ईशान, लिप्सिता,
Present, sir.
आदित्य कुमार, मधुस्मिता, आयुष,
Present, sir.
मधुमुखी, पंकज,
Present, sir.
संदीप,
Present, sir.
चंद्रशेखर,
Sir, Sandeep present.
हाँ संदीप प्रेजेंट, चंद्रशेखर, सुमित, प्रियांबदा,
Present, sir.
तन्मय,
Present, sir.
आदित्य,
Present, sir.
अनिकेत,
Present, sir.
अभिषेक, अनुराग,
Yes, sir.
सौरभ,
Present, sir.
वैष्णवी, यस,
Abhishek sir is present.
ओके, वैष्णवी ठाकुर, शिवम सिंह,
Present, sir.
अश्वनी, शुभजीत,
Present, sir.
संग्राम,
Present, sir.
हर्षिता,
Present, sir.
okay, so you can do this program. So anyone who is able to run this program successfully? No one, try करो, just you try, see where you are getting error, you can check. So program is already in chat and it is not in the PPT actually. So you know, so in the next class I will start abstract method, then we are going to an end. So one more class I will take in this chapter, then it will be finished. No, you have midsem also from 24th. Okay, so we'll have class after 24th then. Okay. Okay, you run this program. Okay. Then check it's working or not. This is inside the book, so you can check in the book. Okay. And make sure you understand. I think we'll meet after midsem. So, okay. All the best for the midsem. See. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.